Have you ever wondered what people experience in the final days before they die? Hospice nurses have worked with thousands of patients at the end of life, and many of them report the same remarkable experiences over and over again. Often these patients seeing loved ones and family members that had passed years before coming to see them. Many of them claiming they're going on a journey or even going home. Often some of them even knowing the exact day and even time of their passing. Whether you believe this is something spiritual, psychological, or just something that we don't quite understand yet, these kind of stories have brought a tremendous amount of comfort to many people. Hi, I'm Michelle, and welcome back to Smiles from the Soul. I mentioned that recently a very good friend of mine lost her dad. Her dad passed away a few weeks ago. And this reminded me of a specific story, situation that our family experienced during my grandmother's passing. But before I talk about that, I want to talk a little bit more about hospice nurses. They, of course, are there to support and comfort patients during the end of life process. Typically, if it's a terminal illness within 6 months, hospice steps in. They are a remarkable organization. We have had them help support our family in the past. Back in 1985, Barbara Carnes wrote a little pamphlet which became referred to as a Little Blue Book. It was titled Gone from My Sight. And it helps families cope with and deal with what to expect as their family member passes. And there are some remarkable, consistent experiences that their patients all went through. Oftentimes, they were reported talking to, parents, grandparents, loved ones that had passed years ago. Sometimes raising their hand up into the sky, like to reach out a hand, smiling, and seemingly having just an overwhelming feeling of peace and happiness before their transition. I know that this isn't something that we can explain. We won't know until our time comes, but there is a tremendous amount of comfort and believing that this can be a loving transition. When I first started hearing the hospice nurses' stories, I couldn't help but think back to the experience we had with my grandmother. My grandmother passed away many years ago, and when we were told that her illness was terminal, my mother was fortunate enough to be by her side for the end of her life, for the last 5 months of her life. Both of my brothers lived close by as well, so that they were able to spend a good amount of time with her. I flew up as often as I could to see her. I remember being there for Mother's Day to see my mother and my grandmother. It was about a month before my grandmother's passing, and I can recall sitting in the room with her, and often she would sit up in the bed and we would talk about old times. And very frequently, her eyes would wander and she would kind of look in the corner of the room, and she would sometimes even look up and smile and give a little wave. And then she would look at me and she'd wink, like it was a little secret. And I would just go along with it and continue talking. And my mother and my brother both also reported that spending a lot of time with her, she would tell them things like they would be sitting there, and one time my brother said that my grandmother saw 2 doves fly in the room, just fly in the bedroom and land. She said, "Oh, did you see that? They're so beautiful. 2 beautiful doves just flew in, landed on my bureau, and then they just flew off." She also reported waving and saying hello to her husband that had passed previously, her parents. My family just went along with it, you know. No one knows what to expect until we have that time ourselves. But it made them feel really good knowing that loved ones were there for her. And she would get this tremendous smile on her face. She would be filled with joy and love. And she would openly talk about it. She would say, "Joe came in to see me today. He looks wonderful. I'm going to see him soon." So none of us really know what this is. Again, we won't know until our time comes. But these stories help to bring comfort during such a difficult time. Barbara Carnes also equated grief to like a wound. You know, in the beginning, the wound is open and it is so painful. And just time heals that wound from the inside out. It heals over till eventually the skin heals and it's a scar. It's there forever. You can touch it sometimes and it's still sensitive. So if you've ever had a similar experience, feel free to drop a comment below. Tell your story. Share with the community, because you just don't know who may read it, and it may be exactly what they need. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like this video, and share with others. It's all really just about helping to find comfort in a very difficult time, in a time that we really don't understand very much, but I do believe is more of a beautiful transition than something to be feared. I don't think we should fear death. I don't know what's going to happen when my time comes. And I know that unfortunately, I will experience more grief in my life. And I'm hoping for myself, for my loved ones, and for all of you, that we can find a way to find some comfort in these very difficult times. So again, if you have a story that you can share, please put it in the comments. And for now, I'll just ask, who did you make smile today? Until the next one, thanks so much.